Hi, I'm James T. Kaiser, and welcome to another edition of Kaisercade, right here on EmeraldRangers.com. We're still doing the Shmuptober series. Actually, we're on the third part of the series, and here's what you can expect on this edition of Kaisercade. On this episode of Kaisercade Shmuptober edition, we take a look at the void that reigns upon a heart, and we play some indie shmup called Xenodyne R, and another bloody DVD in the Kaisercade Underground. All on this edition of Kaisercade on EmeraldRangers.com. But before we get into all that, let's take a look at a re-release of a very legendary shmup, Game Tengoku. Before we had Wreck-It Ralph, we had a game called Game Tengoku, a game about classic arcade characters coming to life to defeat an evil professor that has taken over the arcade. These are characters I wouldn't be surprised you haven't heard of, unless you're a hardcore gamer that is, as they are from Jaleco, who did games such as Momo 120% and Formation Z, and those characters even appear in this game. Okay, you'll know of Jaleco's most famous games, City Connection and Bases Loaded, and yes, even characters from those appear in this, but I'll talk about them a bit later on in this episode. But for now, I'll be reviewing the re-release of this game for the PS4 and PC. This is Game Tengoku Cruise and Mix. If you know how to play a basic shmup, then you'll know how to play this game, but the unique gimmick to this game are the levels themselves, as this whole game takes place in an arcade. And so you'll be playing some real awesome stages. One level will have you playing through a claw machine. Another will have you playing through a racing game. That's right, a racing game. And one will have you playing through the history of shmups. All the levels are full of fun things, and the gameplay does match up, as it is also an incredibly fun game to play. This game is also ultra addicting, and I have found myself replaying it a few times. And good news! This game has a free play mode from the get-go, so anyone can enjoy this one. Adding on to the replay value are the characters. They all have different attacks. But Mamoko's bomb attack is a little disturbing, as a bomb will display pictures of her in positions that no little girl should be in, and it's gross. The game itself is also quite short for a shmup, but it's also the perfect length for this game as well. This new re-release of the game also includes two versions of the game, one being the Sega Saturn version, and the other being a special plus edition of the arcade game. There's also a history mode that shows you the games that the characters are from. I really dig the graphics in this one, as it had a very good looking cel shade style that adds to the cartoony nature and the fun of the game. The soundtrack isn't bad, it does go well with the game, but it won't be something that'll stick around your head after you've turned off the game. The voice acting in this is really cute though. Overall, Game Tengoku Cruise and Mix is a really awesome shmup, and I'm glad that it has been re-released. One last warning though, this game is currently in Japanese only. Do not worry though, this game is very import friendly, plus you can buy it worldwide via Steam. Game Tengoku Cruising Mix gets a 80. Steel Dragon EX may sound like a remake of the original game Steel Dragon, but is in fact the sequel. And guess what? You have to save the world again! And yep, you'll need to defeat the giant Steel Dragon and its goons all over again. Yikes. Instead of being a lone pilot like in the first game, you get 6 pilots and 3 different ships to choose from. Each ship has their own shot pattern and special attack, but the pilots don't really add anything other than each character has a different ending, which is a little disappointing to say the least. The attack system has also been improved on. Gone are the buzz-killing homing attacks, and in with a new and improved bullet system that lets you fire your weapons at different spreads. I had quite a bit of fun with this one. This system makes taking out baddies and beating bosses to be a much more satisfying and rewarding experience. Plus, with all the ships and different endings, there's a decent amount of replay value. Also gone is the checkpoint system. This game plays much more like a traditional modern day shmup, where you respawn where you had died. The downside to this game is that the levels aren't the most original looking out there. A lot of things seen in this game have been done in other shmups, and much more better too, and I felt like that they were just ripping off the classics. The graphics are also not the best looking. All of the ships look like grey blobs, and the levels in the first half look very dark and muddy. The graphics do look better in the second half of the game though. The characters in this game are done in 2D anime/manga style, and they aren't very special looking. I also liked how you can change the colour of your ship. Gave the game a nice personal touch. The soundtrack is very quiet in this game, to the point where I never noticed it. Overall, Steel Dragon EX is a decent shmup with good gameplay, but the graphics are very average. I also find this funny, as the original game had great graphics, but average gameplay. So imagine what the series could have been if it had the best of both games put into it. Steel Dragon EX gets a 70. Up next, things get a little bit mystical as we play the game Mystical right here on Kaizercade. Panic! Kaizercade's back on! Ah! Hi, I'm James T. Kaiser. Welcome back to Kaizercade Shmuptober Special, right here on EmeraldRangers.com. As you can see, well, as you can unsee, that I'm invisible. Yes! Unfortunately, I've been messing around with magic again. And until I find a way to make myself visible again, well, here's a review of the Magic Shoot 'em Up game. Mystical is a very weird little shmup. You play as a magician who must get back all of the great wizard's lost scrolls that you lost in the first place. I had to look up what the story actually was, as the gameplay gives you a completely different impression. The gameplay makes it out to be that I was playing as a madman, going on a killing spree. The system in this one is interesting, as you cannot shoot from the get-go. You'll need to find spells and then equip them before you can rain hellfire on the people of this world. You still can do some damage without magic, as you can run into people and stab them up with your wand. But it also takes some life away from you as well. The game takes a little bit to get used to, but it's very fun once you've gotten the hang of things. I like some of the enemies in this game, as they are creative. You've got lunatic tree people! You've also got monks that throw Bibles at you. Actually, that's all I liked. The rest of the baddies were just angry villagers and innocent people, and you can kill them. Yes, you can kill them! You can kill them all! I really did have fun. Well, up until I beat the first level, as this game has one really crazy flaw that should never happen in an official release of a game. Once you get past level 1, then this game gets treated as if you were playing a pirated version of the game. How so? Well, once the stage is beat, then you go to a shop screen, where you're able to buy power-ups. But once you're done with the screen, the game resets. Let me repeat myself one more time. This is an official re-release, but it gets treated as a pirated version of the game. Holy shit! Someone fucked up royally when pawning this one. I'm amazed that this is even still allowed to be sold on Steam. There are ways of getting the full game to work if you search around, but this shouldn't have to be. This should have all been patched out from the get-go. Avoid getting this one on Steam. I'm giving this a 1, for the sheer incompetence of this port alone. Aye, aye, aye. The story in this game is about a little naked fairy and has a fear of the outside world because it is full of dangerous, bloodthirsty monsters. She does get sick of this depression, so she decides she wants to try to make the monsters her friends. It seems like an impossible task, but with the help of her little robot friend, she finds that this task can well and truly be completed. The story in this one may seem very shallow, but it is quite interesting, and the deep undertones about anxiety and depression help to make this game much more thought-provoking than you'd think. Every level in this game is a boss fight. Each boss is well crafted and quite varied in design, and were fun to fight. A nice added bonus is that all of the bosses have different levels of difficulty, adding quite a bit of excitement for when the player gets better and wants a new challenge. The way the character plays is pretty obvious. You just fly around and try to slay, or befriend in this case, and avoid bullets. You don't need to do much when it comes to the combat system. The main character fires on her own, but you can do a charge and bomb attack. They aren't automatic, but it doesn't take much to pull them off. The controls are also very smooth and responsive, so you shouldn't have any trouble playing this one. There's two main modes, a story mode and a quick play mode. The story mode is quite interesting. It felt more like an arcade mode. It starts off simple enough, but each level becomes progressively harder until you reach the final boss. You also have to beat story mode on 1 life, and your health bar won't regenerate, unless it is one of the many rewards that you get from beating a level. Yep, there's a lot of power-ups and upgrades to earn, and this adds on to the replay value, and I thoroughly enjoyed collecting them all. My first play through the story mode left me feeling a bit disappointed, as it was over in only 20 minutes. Until I realised there's much more to play. You get different campaigns and difficulties to play the story mode in, making this game much more bigger than I had thought. The game gets quite tough, but never unfair. Each level can be memorised, and it is a shmup that's not too hard to adapt to. Quick play mode has you choosing a monster to fight, and the goal is to defeat it with as many points as you can get. It's quite satisfying defeating the monsters, and also quite rewarding getting all the best medals on each stage. I also enjoy the effort they put in to make the two modes feel incredibly different, giving me different reasons to play and enjoy them. The graphics are quite decent. I like the pixel art style, and I like how there are quite a different amount of different boss designs, and they were all fun to look at. The thing I wasn't expecting with this game was that the main character is nude. And I'm not talking nude as in the rude bits are cleverly obscured. No. You get to see full frontal nudity. You see boobs, you see bush, and you also see butts. But it was also handled in quite an innocent way. She isn't drawn to be a mindless sex object. Overall, The Void Rains Upon Her Heart gives off shallow first impressions, but it quickly becomes a really fun and addictive game that's worth playing. This game gets an 80%. After the break, I take a look at the indie shmup Xenodyne R, and for the Kaizercade Underground segment, I take a look at another bloody gaming DVD. What's on the DVD? Find out once we return with Kaizercade on EmeraldRangers.com. Hi, this is James T. Kaiser, host of the Super Secret Let's Play podcast. It's not a Let's Play, it's not a podcast, it's both. What? Haven't heard of it? Well, enjoy this clip then, and maybe that will intrigue you. Hopefully. Have you ever watched Wayne's World 2?
Yes.
You sound like the British guy.
Are you gonna talk? Are you again going to say that I sound like the heavy metal guy?
Yeah.
God damn it! We did this on a roll a million years ago. I remember that Let's Play. Oh, I was on that Let's Play.
That's the Super Secret Let's Play podcast. You can check out the video version of it right here on my own YouTube channel. And for the audio version, you can check it out at www.emeraldrangers.com. And now we are back with more Kaizercade. Yay. Yay! I'm visible again. Well, mostly. It may not look like it, but I'm still wearing my sweater. But unfortunately, that is still invisible. But yeah, it's the Kaizercade Underground segment, a segment where I take a look at stuff that's more obscure in the gaming collecting scene. Ooh. And what am I covering this edition? Well, I'm covering something from near and dear to my heart. This is going to be something from the esports scene. But this is from before esports was incredibly famous. Yeah, I've been into the sport for a very long time now. And it's interesting to see how it evolved over the years. Like, back 10 years ago, it was hard to find this stuff. Some people were uploading this stuff on YouTube, but a lot of the time, it all got official DVD releases. And I just happen to have a shmup-related esports tournament. Take a look at this. This is from the Mikado series of esports DVDs. As you can see, behind this Naruto box set, I've actually got a ton of them right here underneath the Partridge Family collection. And normally they do fighting games, but they did do a shmup one. This is, well, it doesn't have the it's got the name on it, it's just not in English. But yeah, but this is a special esports DVD of, well, this isn't a typical esports release from this group, as it is not a standalone tournament. It's the whole second series of the Senko no Ronde SP ranking tournament, where each battle is for points, and the player with the most points at the end of the season wins. This whole series is presented in 4 episodes, each with the whole ranking battle session. There's no commentary, it's just gameplay, but you do get information about who is playing and the date that the fights are on. The skill of these players is crazy! They aren't messing around, and I really got into some of the bouts. I like seeing how the players outsmarted, outplayed, and outlasted each other. Don't see me, Survivor. I'm not normally into shmups of this style, as a lot of them play the same, but I wasn't playing this game. I was enjoying Masters of this game at work. Okay, this release has gotten me interested in the game, as it looks quite fun. This isn't a game that you'll typically see esports tournaments on in the mainstream, but it's welcome and fits right at home at being part of my esports collection, a gem from the dark ages of esports. Have you ever gotten that feeling that they just don't make games like they used to? Have you been excited to play a game that's old school inspired, but ended up feeling disappointed that they didn't get the retro feeling correct? Well, maybe you should check out Xenodyne R, a shmup that's heavily inspired by the 16-bit days of gaming. The story is very basic. You are the good guy. You must stop the bad guy. It doesn't get any more simpler than that. Gameplay is also very standard. You get the typical attacks that are found in most of the games of this genre, and you also get a special alternative fire attack as well. This is far from being bad though, as not only does the gameplay work, it is very fun to play, with its ultra fast paced action, smooth controls, and fun levels. I think I really liked about the levels is that midway in, you get a fork in the road, where you get to choose if you want to go the easy way, or the hard way through the levels. It gives me plenty to explore in the game, and satisfaction knowing that I've worked my way into beating the harder parts of the game. This path splitting option is only in arcade difficulty. Easy mode cuts this out completely, which I didn't like, as it dulls the whole point of this game. Even with the path splits, this game isn't the most easy, nor is it the most hard. It is, however, an easy game to adapt to. And the more you play, the more you find out that you'll get better at this game. Yes, I know that's a no-shit statement, but just go with it. There's quite a few different characters in this game that all have different attacks and movement speed, and they were all indeed worth playing as. As fun as the levels were, I found them to be a tad bit predictable when it came to the enemy spawning. Everything just comes at you to the point where nothing will surprise you. There's no free play from the get-go. Heck, you don't even start off with that many credits. You'll have to unlock them by earning special points by playing this game. This is the make or break part of the game. Most people won't be able to beat this game in 1 credit, and replaying the game enough times to earn more credits will test a lot of people's patience. And other than credits, you get some neat stuff, such as more characters to play with, and story lore to read through. If you don't want to do all that, then you do have the level selector option, where you can pick from any of the levels in this game and play them until your heart's desire. But you won't earn any special points by playing this mode. The graphics do take me back to a certain time, as they do remind me of games such as Summer Carnival 92 Wrecker for the Famicom, and Musha for the Sega Mega Drive. Even if I wasn't blinded by nostalgia, it's still a very good looking game. The soundtrack is just as awesome as the graphics. They also match the look of the game and only enhance the old school atmosphere. Yep, it gets the 1990s gaming vibe absolutely correct. Overall, Xenodyne does have some flaws, but it is still a fairly impressive fun to play indie shmup. I'm giving it a 73. Thank you for watching this mess of a show. Well, actually, the review stuff is great. It's just these non-scripted host segments there is what the mess is. Yes. Oh, by the way, my sweater's fully visible again. Yay! But yeah, that is the end of this episode. Thank you all for watching this. We've still got one more part to go. And here's what... No. I'm going to keep the final part a mystery. A mystery that's guaranteed to make you yell at me. Because... why would I do that? But yeah. For more great content, please subscribe and check out my channel. Well, great in quotation marks. But you may actually find it to be entertaining. I'm my worst critic at these sorts of things. Wiping my nose here, that's rude. And also, for more great stuff, please visit www.emeraldrangers.com. Yes, I've been spamming that name throughout this website, but there's some good stuff on there. You can see my Kamen Rider reviews, Orange Scarab's VR Trooper reviews, and of course Red Diamond's Super Sentai reviews. Plus more. We've also covered gaming, and the site's still new, okay? We're still trying to figure out what we're fully trying to cover. But at least we cover those stuff. Yeah. So, until next time, I'm James T. Kaiser. And... wait a minute. Am I forgetting something? Oh yes! And I'm closing this episode off with a new edition of my DLC Unlock segment. Yeah, I teased this early on in the episode, and I haven't quite gotten to it yet. But anyway, let's check that out. Yes! Now I can talk about the DLC characters in the special Kaizercade edition of DLC Unlocked. Yay! The characters that were picked to be DLC are quite odd choices, to say the least, which is absolutely perfect for this game. First is Clarice, the cute blue-haired driver from the game City Connection. Yep, you're driving a car in a shmup. Character-wise, she does make sense as being part of this wacky game. But does she actually convert into a shmup? I mean, all her attacks were firing barrels at police cars and knocking into them. Honestly, she doesn't convert very well into a shmup at all. Her tap-fire attack includes firing barrels as if they were rockets. It's funny to see, but this attack is very slow and not very effective. Her charge attack is pretty bland and generic. She only fires bullets at a machine gun pace. The only useful move she has is a bomb attack, which is the exact same as Momoko's, but instead of seeing creepy pictures of a 12-year-old, you see sexy pictures of a very attractive woman. Don't waste your $10 on this character, she is very disappointing. The other character is an even weirder choice, as it's Homura Banto, aka random baseball player from the Bases Loaded series. Yup, you've heard right, Bases Loaded! How do you expect a character from a serious baseball sim to play in this not-so-serious shmup? Why, he plays so silly that it's absolutely brilliant! He plays exactly like a baseball player. His tap fire attack doesn't fire any projectiles. He just swings his bat for massive damage. It does more than that, as you can knock enemy fire back at them, as if they were baseballs themselves. Not only is it funny and matches up with the comedic theme of the game, it's also really effective, to the point where this character becomes the most overpowered character in the game. Downside is that this attack doesn't work on old projectiles, which sucks. His charge attack has him throwing a flaming fireball. It's awesome. It's not as effective as the bat swing, but it does the job. His bomb attack is also my favourite attack in this whole game. He makes it rain bases loaded cartridges. Nope, I'm not talking about generic looking carts, but the actual bases loaded cartridges. You see Famicom carts, Super Famicom carts, and you even see an American NES cart. Humura Banto is also $10, and as great of a character he is, the price is still incredibly steep. So you may want to wait until this DLC goes on sale for around half price. So overall, you get one awesome character that didn't convert very well into this game. And you get one real oddball choice of a character, no pun intended, that works too well with this game. Man,